TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel News Bulletin, broadcast from Jerusalem. Israel has doubled down on its commitment not to withdraw from the IDF security zone in Southern Lebanon so long as Hezbollah threatens Israel's northern communities. The IRGC has resumed threats against maritime vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And U.S. President Donald Trump has revealed that Turkey had apparently considered joining Iran in its war against Israel. Israel has doubled down on its commitment not to withdraw from the IDF's security zone in southern Lebanon for so long as the Iranian proxy Hezbollah continues to pose a direct threat to Israel's northern communities. Speaking at the local council summit, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also stressed that the task of confronting Jerusalem's enemies has not yet been completed in any of the fronts from which the Islamic Republic of Iran and its proxies had attacked Israel.
There is still work to be done in Gaza, in Lebanon, and also in Iran, but I want to tell you two things. As long as I am Prime Minister, Iran will not have nuclear weapons. And one more thing, as long as I am Prime Minister, we will maintain the security strip in southern Lebanon. As much as it takes, we will maintain the security of the north, and together we have done a lot, also vis-a-vis prosperity. I have said security is the first priority. I expanded the discussion on that a little. Do you know why? Because we cannot exist without security, and security is bought by courageous decisions and brave commanders and soldiers, and we have that in abundance. But let's understand that this needs to continue and that we can also do great things in the political field, precisely because of the strength that we have displayed.
It is important to know that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, while on a working visit to the Arabian Gulf, pushed back on reports claiming Israel was trying to destabilize the U.S.-Iran ceasefire, calling it fake, while further stressing that ongoing negotiations between Beirut and Jerusalem under U.S. auspices aims to resolve all withstanding issues between the two countries.
The only reason Israel is in Lebanon is because Hezbollah launches rockets and drones from there. They've made that clear, and the talks continue today. They started yesterday, they'll go on today, they'll go on tomorrow, and that's exactly what they're talking to the Lebanese about with our mediation. And that is our hope that the Lebanese armed forces and the legitimate sovereign Lebanese government will continue to be able to control and secure more and more of their own territory. Because that's who needs to control Lebanese territory, not a terrorist group like Hezbollah. So that's the goal. And I think the Israelis have been clear. They don't have any quarrels with the Lebanese people. They don't have any claims on the territory of Lebanon. The reason why they're involved there is because the territory of Lebanon is being used to launch drones and missiles against Israel. But the more of that area the Lebanese armed forces is able to secure, the less of it's in Hezbollah's control, the less Israel will be in Lebanon. But obviously that's the process we're working through right now with these talks. That's at the core of these talks.
Asked whether the Lebanese armed forces have the capacity to disarm Hezbollah, which would effectively bring about the IDF's withdrawal, Secretary Rubio stressed that while the will to achieve the long-standing challenge exists, it is a matter of building up the capacity. Subsequently, in a meeting with leaders of the Arab Gulf Cooperation Council, Secretary Rubio also emphasized Washington's commitment to ensure that any final status agreement with Iran would guarantee the national security interests of the Gulf countries.
And the message that I come with is that we want to ensure that in any decisions that are made throughout this negotiating process, the interests of our partners and our allies in the region are always taken into account. That there is no part of this deal that's undertaken that in any way undermines the security, the stability, or the prosperity of any of our partners in the Gulf region.
Secretary Rubio further emphasized that the Trump administration would not accept just any deal, while stressing further that attempts by the Ayatollah regime and Oman to impose any types of fees or tolls on the Strait of Hormuz would be a deal breaker.
It's important to point to a couple of things that are a priority to us. For while we want a deal, we don't want a deal at any price. We want a deal that's good, we want a deal that's real, we want a deal that's verifiable, and we want a deal that's adhered to. And it is important that any agreements that are reached, both in the process of negotiation and in the aftermath, be adhered to and followed. But there are certain things that for us are important to point out now that will never be acceptable. The first is the Straits of Hormuz are international waters. International waterways do not belong to any nation state. This is a foundational principle in the world today, without which the world would be in total chaos. If in fact we accepted that you can charge money to use an international waterway because it happens to be near your territorial space, well then this would spread throughout the world like a contagion. You can call it a toll, you can call it a fee, whatever you want to call it, it's a game of semantics. The reality of it is that no country on earth has a right to charge for the use of international waterways, and that will never be an acceptable condition of any deal. The President's been fundamentally clear about that.
Today, we see a glimmer of hope for our region, and there will come diplomatic efforts resulting in an end to hostilities, with the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the United States and Iran, supported by the mediation of Pakistan and Qatar, and the restoration of free and secure navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. In this regard, we welcome the announcement by Oman of a temporary maritime corridor for vessels wishing to transit through the strait.
It is important to know that while the United States repeatedly relays warnings to Iran to maintain freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, or IRGC, continues to harass commercial shipping transiting the international waterway. The harassments intensified over the past 24 hours alone, that after the Sultanate of Oman reached an agreement in coordination with the International Maritime Organization, or IMO, to open a temporary corridor for all vessels seeking to transit the Strait of Hormuz. The move seemingly infuriated the IRGC as it published statements threatening commercial vessels that transit without coordinating with the IRGC first, and subsequently sent repeated threats over the radio waves.
Attention all vessels in Persian Gulf and Oman Sea. This is SEPA Navy warning. Transiting in the Strait of Hormuz is only possible with SEPA Navy permission and on designated routes. If any vessel attempts to transit in the strait without our permission or AIS off or outside of the designated route, it's responsible for any consequences of any danger.
Turning to the White House, where President Donald Trump, during a press availability session alongside NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, was asked whether he would acquiesce to Turkey's request to procure engines for its domestically developed Kan aircraft, alongside Ankara's hopes to rejoin the F-35 aircraft program. And while answering the question, President Trump revealed that Turkey had an inclination to join Iran in its war against Israel.
Mr. Secretary General clearly pointed out that allies want to do defense business with you, and Turkey is definitely one of them. They want the F-110 jet engines, and they want the F-35 fighter jets. Are you going to Turkey with a big gift bag for Erdogan?
Yeah, I think so. Look, he's a member of NATO. Some people don't consider himself, but he really is. He's a strong member of NATO. Yeah, I'm going to probably do something that's going to make him very happy. I like him. He's a friend of mine, and he stayed out of the war. You know, he was a prime candidate to go into the war with Iran, maybe on the Iran side, because he's not a big fan of Israel, as you know. And I asked him to stay out. He stayed out. Erdogan's a great leader, very strong person, great military. And I asked him to stay out, and he did.
While President Trump is favorably considering the readmission of Turkey to the advanced F-35 stealth aircraft program, a decision would require Turkey to abide by American law, which includes divesting from its Russian S-400 surface-to-air platforms, among others.
Well, I know that Pete and the entire team are reviewing this right now because There are certain things that we have to certify that have happened in order to comply with American law. The president has asked us to do that. We're running the traps and confirming that's happened. This is really a congressional thing and ensuring that Turkey has complied with American law so they can get the F-35s. And of course, we'll announce that when we have that reduced fleet.
Yeah, we're going to work. Look, hey, he's a man he's a little controversial, but I am too. But I know him. I think he's a very good person. He's helped us a lot. Anytime I've helped, like as an example, I said, I'd love you to stay out of the war with Iran. That's a natural for him, right? He stayed out.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News, and thank you for supporting TV7 Israel during our 2025 and 2026 broadcast season. As we enter into TV7's summer broadcast schedule, I would like to encourage you to stay tuned through our website at www.tv7israelnews.com on our production schedule for the month of July. During this time, we will continue to broadcast roughly 3 productions a week to keep you up to date on the main events. And tomorrow, Friday 26th, I will host our monthly TV7 Powers and Play with a select team of experts. With that, I would like to continue to encourage you to keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Mevorach v'Shabbat Shalom, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.